question. We all lament the fact that we have a lot of graduates with paper, but without skill. And skills are necessary for two hands to feed one mouth. Otherwise, the hands are there, but they don't have the skill to work, to add value, to create value, to be able to sustain themselves and eventually their family. I think the intention of the bill for me is very, very clear. I don't think we should do it out of pity and out of sentiment. It's about recognizing those gaps that exist in our educational system and using the force of law to compel. I think we can work the bill. I'm sure the mover of the distinguished brother Afolabi spoke about whether elegant or inelegant. But I think the bill can benefit from retouch. But the overall purpose, in my view, is to say that after NYSC, a young man may have been forced to read a course or to read a course that she didn't want to read, but that is what the university, quote, offered. And so we have graduates who parade documents that does not reflect their aptitude. I think the idea of internship is that you may well find that you read mass comm, but you have skill in other areas. And it doesn't require creation of another institution. In my view, there are parts of the world where employers are encouraged to take on young people and expose them to acquiring skills in a modified way of apprenticeship. And just like lawyers do, you finish from law school, you are obliged to do a tutelage with a law firm before you can set up your own practice. Even though in law you can go to court, but the technicality require that you do some internship with an established law firm. I think this is what I understand this bill to be about. But the challenge I have, which the law has to be carefully worded to avoid, is not to have the kind of situation we have with the Industrial Training Fund, where money is deducted ostensibly to ensure that workers are skilled, are trained properly, and the money just goes to the pocket of consultants and they balance the books, no new skills are acquired. We have to, in the light of such experiences, word the law in such a way that such practices will attract severe sanction. Lastly, Mr. President, I just discovered only yesterday, and for me, I found it extremely embarrassing. I'm not sure this is when I should say it, but we should say it because we are in Parliament. That even the National Assembly is not paying coppers the mandatory legal obligation to pay them allowances. That for me is scandalous. And I'm sure, Mr. President, you are not aware of this, that this has been the tradition of previous senators, and we just roll on, not knowing that these coppers we see here are not even paid. And what it means is that if government agency doesn't obey the law, how will private employers obey the law? So I will take advantage of this to say that under your leadership, let it be on record that it was the 10th Senate, under your leadership, a heart that cares, that these young men and women who are serving various committees should be attracting allowances not less than is prescribed in law in terms of minimum wage. But back to this issue, and this is the last point. There are part of the world, sir, in order to keep people busy, they give employers incentive not to sack. Because if they follow the logic of the market, the social purpose of government does not coincide with the profit motive of private enterprise. And so the government tried to use this instrument as using the force of the state to subsidize the employer so that they can retain employees who otherwise the logic of the market may not require. That way you get people busy. The way capitalism has survived and moderated the aggression of communism is that it created this social safety net to give everybody a sense of belonging. People will say we are not yet wrapped, but sir, Mr. President, we are wrapped enough, because the challenge we have now when we have market money, traders money, conditional cash transfer, this ad hoc approach to dealing with the poor in our midst is, for me, not a structured way. I think we need to structure the idea that every Nigerian who lacks job because of our choice of economic policies or the fact that our population will grow much faster than the rate of economic growth. But they deserve to have something at the end of the month. How much it should be will be a matter for another day. It is to be preferred to this ad hoc cash transfer that you can't control. It's ad hoc by nature, it's not structured, and as we have seen, accountability is a big issue. I urge my colleagues to give their support to this bill. I think it is the national interest and our own elected self-interest. Thank you, Mr. President, for this privilege.